Hi there, everybody. This tutorial is going to be to show you how to use the different tools and to navigate through the test for the Illinois Assessment of Readiness. The math test can be especially challenging because of all the different tools and symbols that you may need to use to write your answers, especially in these short answer boxes. So a couple of things here. First of all, you have some arrows here to navigate. You also have a trash can, and that trash can allows you to clear out what is in your answer box and start again. And then you also have your math symbols, relations, geometry, and all sorts of tools that you'll see here that allow you to type in things like operations. You can type in fractions or mixed numbers, and you can also use symbols such as the degree symbol and the pi symbol, or square roots and cube roots if that's necessary as part of your answer. So be sure to check out the different kinds of menus that you'll see, okay? And those can be collapsed or expanded using the menu bar at the top of your screen. In some portions of the math test, you may be able to use a calculator. You'll know if a calculator is available by looking at the top of your screen in your toolbar, and you'll see a calculator tool. When you select that tool, the calculator that is available to you will pop up on your screen. For 6th and 7th graders, that is a 5-function calculator. So you'll notice it has your 4 basic operations, it has a square root key, and it has a percent key. It also has a positive negative key, which allows you to turn the number in your display either to a positive value or a negative value. Don't forget to clear out each of your operations before performing the next one. When you're ready to get rid of your calculator on your screen, then don't forget you can either click the X at the top right corner of your screen, or you can reselect that calculator button and the calculator will disappear. For 8th graders, the calculator tool is still located at the top of the page in the same position, right up here. But your calculator is a scientific calculator. So you'll notice it has a lot more options, but still the same functionality as the 5 functions. So you have your 4 basic operations. You have your positive, negative key. You also have squares and square roots. You have the option of using parentheses, and you have a percent key. This is your all clear key, so that allows you to clear your display before you go on to a different question or another calculation within the same question. Also in the toolbar located at the top of your screen, you'll notice that there are a couple of different ruler tools. One of these rulers is your centimeter ruler. That's this one that you see here on your screen. Okay, centimeters. And then the other one provides a ruler in inches. You can navigate through these rulers and change the direction in order to measure something on screen if necessary by taking a hold of these circles at the ends of the rulers and either using your trackpad or your finger on your iPad screen. If you press and hold one of those gray dots at the end of the ruler, you can rotate it in order to match it up with the line that you're trying to measure. Once you're done with the ruler tool, you just simply click on that button again at the top of your screen and the ruler will disappear. Another tool that is sometimes helpful in multiple choice questions is the answer eliminator tool. That's this one right up here. It's the X. If you click on that tool to use, it allows you to put an X next to any of the answer options that you want to eliminate while you're deciding which answer is correct. Now, in order to be able to answer the question, you're going to have to turn that tool off. And remember, the easiest way to turn on and off one of your tools is just simply to click the button at the top of your screen where you see that tool. By selecting that button a second time, you can turn the tool back off to get back to the question and answer it before moving on to the next part or the next question in your test. In this next example, you'll notice that there is a geometry question. Sometimes in geometry, you may need to use a conversion or a formula to answer the question. So if you look over here to the right side of your screen, you'll notice that there's a button labeled Exhibits. That button will allow you to access the reference sheet for your grade level. Since this question was an 8th grade question, you'll notice that when the Exhibits button is selected, the 8th grade reference sheet is the one that pops up on your screen. This allows you to see all sorts of conversions, as well as formulas for different geometric figures. Since the reference sheet is too large to fit within one window, you may need to use the scroll bar over here along the right-hand side of your page to get down to other formulas that are also on that sheet but not visible until you scroll. When you're finished with using your exhibit or your reference sheet, you can simply click the X and it will minimize that back over here into that little box on the right side of your screen, and you can pull that open anytime you need it. The 6th grade reference sheet is much smaller. You'll notice that this one fits entirely on the screen. No scrolling is needed. Now let's take a look at some of the tools that might be useful on your English Language Arts literacy assessment. One of those tools is the notepad. So the notepad is still found at the top of your screen in your toolbar, right up here. Okay, you'll see that along with your arrow tool, your answer eliminator, which is the X, okay, and that allows you to put X's across your multiple choice answers. And then your notepad tool is the one in the middle. Okay, it looks like a little sticky note there. That allows you to open up, type what you need to in the notepad, maybe copy and paste your answer into an essay box, or maybe just scratch out some ideas on that notepad before you go back to your work. So the notepad is available. Again, to deselect that tool, you're just going to press that button at the top of your screen again, and the notepad will disappear. When you're actually in the test, instead of the word guest up here at the top of the page in the right-hand corner, this was where your name is located, but the little icon next to it, the button that has the pull-down menu, allows you to play with some of the other tools that may be available to you during your testing session. Please keep in mind that not all of these options are available to each student, but it is important that you know that they're there in case you are using them and you need to learn how to use them using those tutorials that you have online. Also in the ELA literacy assessment, you'll notice that you have some paired passages. So if you've not done these on a device before, you'll notice that you have 2 titles here on your screen. And each of these titles is a tab. So if you need to go back and forth between them, you're just selecting the tab that shows the title that you're trying to access at that time. And your computer will switch back and forth between those 2 titles. You will likely also have at least one question in the ELA literacy assessment that includes a video. And you'll be able to play that video by selecting the play button here. Just make sure that your earbuds and headphones are plugged in before you play the video. If you receive a test form that has audio options with it, in order to play the question or play the audio that goes with the item, you're going to need to use the navigation tools on the far right-hand side of your screen in order to do that. These buttons over here along the right side of your screen will allow you to play the audio, to change the sound on the audio, okay, or to alter the settings of that audio. So again, you're going to want to practice with these in the event that your test has audio with it. If you have audio with your test, you'll notice that the text that is being read is highlighted and it jumps word for word with the blue highlighting to show you what it is reading out loud. You'll also notice that the navigation tool over here, the play button, turns to a stop button so that you can stop the audio at any point in time if you need to answer the question or go back and reread. In some grade levels, Unit 1 is split into 2 sections. The end of Unit 1 non-calculator means that once you submit that portion of your test, you cannot go back to any of those questions. You will receive a section exit warning that warns you that once you hit that submit button, or you agree to yes, leave that section, you will not be able to return to that portion of the test. Once you have submitted the first section of the unit, then you will be instructed to go on to the next portion of that unit, which does include a calculator. So once you have moved past the non-calculator section, the calculator tool will be provided in the toolbar as discussed previously. This time, once you have finished the second section of the unit, you'll notice that there is a congratulatory message at the top of the page that lets you know that you are completed with Unit 1 entirely. You will be asked to submit your final answers, and they will again give you a warning to warn you that once you submit, you cannot go back into the test. That submit warning will appear here on screen that allows you to cancel and go back if necessary. If you show that you have questions that are not answered or questions that are bookmarked, they will appear here on your screen and give you the option to go back to those questions or the bookmarks and review them before submitting your final answers. Now it's time to practice. It would be helpful if you were able to practice using the device that you will be using during testing. Remember, Chromebooks and iPads function in much the same way in terms of where the tools are located and how to navigate or use them. It's the devices that are just slightly different in how you access the testing platform. Remember, your teacher is not allowed to help you navigate through the test, submit your answers, or instruct you on how to use any of the tools. So it's time for you to use the tutorials and the practice tests to get used to where those things are located in the toolbars and how to access them before it's time for testing.